Hey everyone, and welcome back. This is it, the final part of our deep dive into Git. And honestly, we've saved the most important piece for last, teamwork. We've totally nailed the solo workflow, but now it's time to see how Git takes a bunch of individual developers and turns them into a single, unstoppable team. Let's do this.
We've all been there, right? You're staring at a file name like this, buried in some shared folder, and you're just praying it's the right one. Was it this, or was it Final for Real V2? This right here, this is a perfect snapshot of collaboration chaos. It's a world of lost work, overwritten code, and just constant confusion. And it's the exact problem we are here to solve, for good. So how do we get from that mess to crystal clarity? Well, here's our roadmap. First, we're going to really dig into that chaos. Then we'll introduce Git's brilliant solution, having one shared source of truth. We'll look at how we can all build stuff at the same time without breaking everything. Then we'll get into the most critical conversation of all, quality control. We'll cover the absolute non-negotiable rules of the road, and then we'll bring it all home.
Okay, let's jump into Section 1, the collaboration chaos. And I really want you to focus on that word, dangerous. Because our old habits, they're not just kind of clunky. They are genuinely hazardous to a project's health.
You know, when you really look at it, you see exactly where things fall apart. With manual file names, you never really know what the real version is. With shared folders, you're living in a last save wins world, which means hours of your best work can just be silently vaporized by a teammate's save, and nobody knows until it's way too late. And emailing code? Forget about it. You've just created a hydra of slightly different versions living in everyone's inboxes. But the real killer? It's having no clear history. When a bug pops up out of nowhere, how can you possibly fix it if you have no idea what changed, who changed it, or why?
And this quote just nails it, doesn't it? Teamwork is a process of give and take. But for that process to actually work, you need a system. You need a structured, reliable way to manage that give and take. You can't just toss files in a digital pile and hope for the best. Git is that process for code.
Okay, so that leads us perfectly into Section 2 and the big solution, the shared source of truth. This is where we introduce the one core concept that makes all that chaos just disappear. We're talking about the remote repository.
So on pretty much any team project, you're going to hear the word origin all the time. All it is Git's default nickname for that shared central hub, the copy of the project that lives on a server somewhere. You got to think of it as the project's digital town square. It's the official, undeniable source of truth that everyone on the team syncs up with. So how do we stay in sync with that town square? Well, we've got two main commands, fetch and pull. Git fetch is the cautious approach. It's like getting the latest newspaper delivered to your door. You've downloaded all the new info from Origin, but you haven't actually updated your own work yet. It lets you look at what the team's been up to before you decide to mix it in. Now, Git pull is way more direct. It doesn't just get the newspaper, it immediately tries to integrate all the new headlines into your own notes. It's basically a fetch followed right away by a merge. So remember, fetch is for looking, pull is for integrating. All right, let's talk about a moment that every single developer has felt in their gut. You've done amazing work, you type git push, you hit enter, and the server just says, nope, rejected. Your first instinct is panic, right? You think you've broken something. But what you're seeing isn't an error. It's actually Git's single most important feature for protecting your team.
Let's break this down, because this is the absolute heart of safe teamwork. Your push got rejected for one simple reason. While you were working, a teammate pushed their changes to Origin. The central history moved forward without you. Now, if Git just said, sure, go ahead and accepted your push, you would literally overwrite their work, erasing it from history and creating the exact chaos we're trying to avoid. So Git steps in and protects the team. It forces you to pull first. It is saying with absolute authority, listen before you speak. You have to integrate their work into yours, solve any conflicts on your own machine, and only then have you earned the right to push that new combined history back for everyone. It's not a bug, it's discipline. It's what makes building great things together even possible.
Okay, so we get how to safely sync up with our central hub. Now let's zoom out a bit and talk about the big picture strategies for how teams organize all that work. This brings us to Section 3, building in parallel safely. There are really two main ways to think about this. The centralized workflow is the simple one. Everyone just works on one shared branch, usually called master. It can work, but boy can it get messy, with conflicts popping up all the time. The modern, professional gold standard is the feature branch workflow. In this world, the master branch is sacred. It is always stable, always working, always ready to go out to users. Any new feature, any bug fix, basically all new work happens on its own separate temporary branch. This is brilliant because it isolates all the messy, in-progress work and protects the core stability of the project.
And that feature branch idea leads us straight into Section 4 and honestly, one of the most powerful concepts in all of modern software development, the quality gate conversation. This conversation happens using a tool called a pull request. And I need to be crystal clear here. This is not just some technical chore. This is a critical communication hub for your team.
So what the heck is a pull request or a PR? Well, once you're done with your work on your feature branch, you open a PR. You are formally asking the team to pull your changes and merge them into that sacred, stable master branch. It's really important to know this isn't a core Git command you type in your terminal. It's a web feature that platforms like GitHub or GitLab build on top of Git to make this whole process visible and collaborative. Think of it as opening up your work for comments before it's set in stone.
And this is the magic right here. A pull request is where your individual work gets transformed into team-owned quality. First, it's a code review. Your teammates can look at your code, ask questions, suggest better ways to do things. It polishes your work. Second, it's a quality gate. It's a formal checkpoint where automated tests can run to make sure you didn't accidentally break something. And third, and this might be the most valuable part, it's an incredible knowledge-sharing tool. Junior developers learn from seniors by seeing their feedback, and everyone on the team gets a better sense of how the whole system works. It is the beating heart of a healthy, productive team.
Now, with all of this power comes some pretty serious responsibility. So let's get to Section 5 and talk about the things you absolutely must never, ever do. These are the unbreakable rules of Git. They aren't suggestions, they're the guardrails that protect your project, your team, and your company.
Rule number 1, and it is completely non-negotiable, never commit secrets. No passwords, no API keys, nothing. Why? Because once something is in Git's history, it's there forever. Even if you delete it later, the original commit is still buried in the project's history, and anyone with access can find it. Imagine you accidentally commit your company's cloud server keys. There are malicious bots scanning public websites constantly for this exact mistake. Within minutes, they could find that key and rack up thousands of dollars in charges. It is a catastrophic security breach, and it's totally preventable.
Second, please do not commit large binary files. Git is a genius when it comes to tracking tiny changes in text files. It is absolutely terrible at handling big files like videos, design assets, or compiled programs. When you commit a huge 50-megabyte file, you are permanently bloating the repository for everybody. From that moment on, every clone, every pull is slower for the entire team. You're basically adding a permanent productivity tax on all your teammates. Don't be that person.
Third, as we've already hammered home, you do not commit directly to the master or main branch. This rule is really just the real-world consequence of using the feature branch workflow. Committing directly to master means you're skipping the quality gate. You're skipping the code review. It's like a surgeon deciding to operate without washing their hands. You might sneak in a tiny bug that brings down the entire application for your users, all because a crucial conversation was skipped. The main branch has to be stable. Always. No exceptions.
And finally, we come to the most severe rule of all. Do not rewrite public history. Now, Git has some really powerful tools like Rebase that let you go back and change past commits. And they are great for cleaning up your own work on your local machine before you share it. But the moment you push your commits to origin, that history is now public record. It belongs to the team. Trying to rewrite it is like going back in time and changing the past. Your teammates, who have built their own new work on top of that history you just erased, suddenly find that their version of reality doesn't match yours anymore. It creates absolute chaos and breaks the fundamental trust in that shared source of truth. Just don't do it.
Which brings us right to our final section, from chaos to clarity. We have taken a journey from the complete confusion of project_final_final.js all the way to a structured, safe, and incredibly powerful way to build amazing things as a team. So let's just recap the new mindset that we've developed. This table really pulls it all together. The remote origin is your shared source of truth, and its golden rule is to always pull before you push. Feature branches are there to isolate your work and protect stability, and their rule is to never commit directly to master. The pull request is your quality gate and your knowledge sharing hub. It's where the review happens before the merge. And finally, public history is that permanent, shared record that you must never, ever rewrite once it's been pushed.
And really,
This is the most important thing to take away from this whole series. Git isn't just a bunch of commands you have to memorize. It's a mindset. It's a philosophy about clear communication, about demand and quality, and about having a deep respect for your teammates and their work. It provides the structure that takes the natural chaos of creative people working together and turns it into a clear, focused process that lets you build truly remarkable things.
So, I'll leave you with a final thought. We've just seen how a system with clear rules, a single source of truth, working in isolation and peer review can tame incredible complexity. And those principles are universal. So the real question to ask yourself is, looking beyond just your code, what other chaotic parts of your work, your projects, maybe even your life, could benefit from that same powerful shift from chaos to clarity? Thank you so much for joining me on this journey.